Azur Lane is a free-to-play game for your mobile phone. It attempts to replicate naval battles, but instead of ships being involved in fighting, they replace them with ship girls. Now the gameplay is straightforward and simple. You assemble a fleet of ship girls and you send them into battle. And that's it, essentially. If you're bored, you can even automate the battle. Now, the ship girls are essentially mostly based on the ships of World War II, although there are some modern ships. For example, the Chinese Navy is in here also. Now, do note there are other forms of gameplay. For example, there's the seasonal mini games like eating contests as I show here. And also there are side quests that you can dispatch the ships on, but they're not animated or anything. It's just data coming towards you. And I think what drives the game is actually it appeals to male fantasies. For example, what I won't show is that you can use in-game currency generated from the battles and activities you do in the game to buy alternate costumes for your ship girls, and usually display them in a more sexy attire than what they already have. And then in other sections, there's artwork and wallpaper for you to admire the ship girls. I guess that's who the audience Azur Lane is aiming for, but that's not for me. Now, I do like military strategy games, and I have a certain favoritism towards the ships of the Imperial Japanese Navy. But in Azur Lane, the combat is so chaotic and so luck-based that essentially you might as well just focus on leveling your ships up so you can go on to the next level. There's no point trying to think about what ships work best in certain situations. And what's a bigger letdown for me is the sound quality. If you listen to the sound of battle at the start of the video, you'll notice that the guns don't really have a kick to them, or it sounds like psh, 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 like a sound that any toddler can make. Now, there are many stories that are happening within the Azur Lane universe. However, the main story is based on the Pacific War, in which the United States of America fought the Imperial Japanese during World War II. So some things are for certain. For example, the ship Yorktown will sing at the Battle of Midway. So these events are represented by the ship girl Yorktown dying at the Battle of Midway. There are other stories too, which the seasonal events will present, but I don't really find any of the stories, including the main one, very memorable. Usually, I will just skip through the dialogue and go straight into the action or whatever action is there. Which to me is a great wasted opportunity, because essentially the main meat and potatoes of this game, which is the combat system, is very lacking. I don't really find enjoyment towards it, as I feel very like brain dead as I play the game. There's no real strategy except waiting for my superpowers of aircraft bombardment or the big guns from the battleship to fire to charge up and then just release them. For the final score, I give Azur Lane 4 out of 10. The art style is really good, and I understand that it mainly serves to appeal to male fantasies. However, I find the combat a bit boring, and the greatest letdown of the combat is essentially the sound. It doesn't sound engaging at all. So with that, I give it a 4 out of 10 and I conclude the review. Happy holidays everyone. Take care.